Hi, welcome to Knits Up. I'm Mindy, otherwise known as Knitter CNY. I'm coming to you from Central New York, the Syracuse area. You can find me on Instagram and on Ravelry as Knitter CNY. You can find a podcast group over on Ravelry. You can also find a Facebook page for me. And if you like this video, please subscribe. And I have past videos on this channel. I also have videos on knitsup.libsyn.com. So today I thought I'd talk about a little bit of a bargain blanket. This is the yarn that you see in front of you. All these lovely rainbow colors are from a discontinued yarn that Lion Brand Yarns put out. That is called Summer Kiss. Summer Kiss is 262 yards, 3.5 ounces. It's a number 4, and they list a US I9 hook or a 7 US knitting needle. This yarn is... This particular color is cherry, and the content of this yarn is 80% cotton and 20% polyester. It's a little interesting construction. It's kind of like a tape yarn, but then it has these little weird fuzzy kind of things in it. I'll hold that very still. You can kind of see there's these splashes, little kisses of color throughout it. It comes in a whole bunch of colors. And the colors that I bought were at my local Christmas tree shop. They were originally a closeout for $1.99. A couple of weeks ago, they put them on sale for $1 a piece. So I could not resist. And I had bought, I think, just this color. This color is called Papaya. And I had thought to myself, I love all the colors of the rainbow, how gorgeous they are. They're very vibrant. They're very they remind me of like tropical resort colors, island colors kind of things. And I thought, why not make a big giant blanket out of them? Well, it's a lot of yardage. 262 yards times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. What was I thinking? Well, apparently it's going to be a very big blanket, or by the time I get done with the first 6, I'm going to be like, no, I don't need any more. So I thought, why not? And I was talking with someone last night, and they said, I'm learning how to knit, I'm learning how to crochet, and I thought, I've never covered that really in my YouTube channels because I was not the most proficient crocheter when I first started. So I thought I'd show you some crochet. I've got 2 different kinds of hooks. One is, this is a hook I bought on sale at Tuesday morning a long time ago. It was a series called the Hook Nook. And actually, I'm not going to use this hook. This is a size H hook, but it's quite substantial. It's kind of crystalline pretty. And I actually want to use a size I hook. So we're going to look on the label again, and that's going to tell me that a size I hook is they say a 5.5 millimeter. So we go to our trusty Prim. Now, do I have a 5.5 millimeter in the Prim? No. Am I going to try and use the next biggest hook? Sure. I think, if I remember correctly, a J hook is a 6.0 millimeter. Now, this is a set I reviewed before, and I wanted to use one of the bigger hooks. These are really comfortable. They're ergonomic hooks. And I'm just going to use them for this demonstration because it's simpler. So I want to start with and go through these colors. Now, whether these colors will be in the same order, I tried to do Roy, G, biv. Whether or not I'm successful, we'll see. So we're going to set a bunch of these aside, and we're going to work with this one. And I'm going to pile these up because I'm working with natural light here. And we're going to pivot just a tiny bit. Pivot. Pivot. There we go. And we're going to start, sorry for the shaking. Here's a whole bunch of stuff that goes with the outside. And I usually like to start my yarn from the inside. This is a process of putting your fingers in and kind of pulling to see if you can find an end. One is not always successful the first time. One will get what is called yarn barf, colloquially. And that's going to happen in this situation. We're going to get a lot of yarn barf because this is tightly wound. So there we go. There's an end. This is pretty thin yarn. And I can't see trying to use a size I hook on this. This is almost, they say this is worsted weight. I'm not buying it. This is pretty thin for worsted weight. In comparison, another Lion brand yarn that is out is Comfy Cotton, which they call a number 3. I'm going to hold these side by side so you can see that. These are laying on the same surface. They're pretty much the same width. And I'm going to look on the label for the Comfy Cotton, and you can tell it's kind of all over the place because the Comfy Cotton says use a J hook, which is a 6.0 millimeter. So I guess it depends. The Comfy Cotton has multiple plies. So yeah, I am going to go down to an H hook, which is the 5.0 millimeter. So now that we've gotten through all of that nonsense, I've gotten yarn, I've got a hook. What are we going to do? We're going to show you on camera what we're going to do. This is a simple slip knot. The way you do this, wrap it around your finger like so. Take this loopy part, and just pull it through. So you got a little slip knot. Leave yourself a little end here. And so you've got this little knot. They call it a slip knot because literally that knot will slip along the string. And you're going to, I'm going to do this right-handed because I am right-handed. This hook has a little notch there. You hold here so it doesn't go all over the place. And I'm going to pull this back towards me, over and towards me. And I'm going to hook that little piece of yarn in the hook, and I'm going to pull the loop over. I'm going to pull that towards me, and I'm going to pull that loop over. I'm going to continue to do this. For this, I'm just going to show you a small demonstration of how this yarn works up. What we're doing here is called chaining. See, I dropped my stitch there, but I can put it right back on. This yarn is what they call a tape yarn. So imagine Scotch tape. It's a little bit stiff and square, stiff and rectangular. There's a lot of body to it. It's not a round yarn, it's a flat yarn. So it's like Scotch tape, sort of. It's not sticky, but it's like Scotch tape. So you're getting the idea. And on these chains, you're trying to get something that's consistent. I'm going to lay this on the table so you can kind of see. It's fairly consistent. Actually, I'm going to repeat that chain, doing a little bit of close work here so you can see what's going on and without the loops in the background. So I've got my chain here, around and towards me, around and towards me, pull out, around and towards me, pull through, around and towards me, pull through. Okay, so we've got a little chain here. We've got little pops of color. And what we're going to do are double crochets. This is going to be a really simple blanket. I'm going to work under my stuff. So a double crochet is, there are regular crochet stitches. They're so high. A double crochet stitch is higher. It's twice as high as a, you'll hear the term single crochet. Let's do the double crochet so you can see that. It's a fairly easy stitch to do. So we're going to, what they call yarn over. So we're almost like we're going to make a chain, only we're going to leave that on the hook. I'm going to go in 1, 2, 3, 4 from the end. And I am going to go, these loops are very hard to see, but there is this weird color here. You're going to go under 2 top loops right here. You're going to yarn over again. You're going to pull up. So you've got 3 loops on the hook now. One of them's under a stitch, one of them's part of a stitch, the middle one's just that yarn over. You're going to yarn over again. You're going to pull through 2 loops. So now you got this weird little thingy going on here. You're going to hold this a little bit. You're going to yarn over again. Yarn over again in frame. Pull through the last 2 loops. So now you got 1 loop back on your hook and you've got a stitch here. This is your double crochet. So now we're going to make another double crochet. We're going to yarn over again. We are going to look for 2 loops. So it's like you're going under the wave of the ocean. Pulling up that 3rd loop. Pulling up the 3rd loop. So now you got 3 loops. You're going to yarn over again. Pull through 2 loops. Yarn over again. Pull through 2 loops. You have another double crochet. You can see 2 double crochets there. Yarn over. Find your next stitch. This thing right here. And you go under those first 2 loops and yarn over and pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Yarn over. Now we're going to, okay, let's start all over again. 1 loop left on the hook. Yarn over. Look for your next loop right here. Kind of difficult to see with the way the yarn is, but kind of here. Yarn over. Pull through. Pull through. 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over. Pull through 2 loops. 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over. Pull through 2 loops. You have formed a double crochet. So I am using the prim hook. I'm using an H, which is a 5.0 millimeter hook. Now these are really comfortable to use with this yarn. What I'm getting is kind of a holey fabric, but I'm okay with that because this yarn is pretty. When you look at this, this is pretty stiff. This is pretty, it's a tape yarn, so it will do this. This is giving me a pretty stiff yarn. Now, the question becomes, do I want to use a size H hook on whatever I'm making? Or do I want to get creative? Now, this is where you can have fun with different size hooks and different combinations of yarn. Now, this red is really pretty by itself, but could it be prettier? Now, my next color is going to be this orange, or this papaya. Now, what I can use is a larger hook. So I'm going to put this one hook away, and I'm going to say, because I have a larger set of prim hooks, and they just label them 7 millimeter L, M, N. I'm going to go crazy and get an M hook. And they don't even put the millimeter labels on here. So I'm just going to use an M hook. And we're going to see what happens with this. And we're going to kind of pull out a little bit. So I'm going to unravel my chain here. And I'm thinking to myself, because I want to get this blanket done sometime this summer, yarn barf again, or from the other end, I'm not quite sure which. I was not prepared. Okay, this is yarn barf. That's exactly what it looks like. Now, could I take from the outside of the yarn and have it be okay? Probably, yeah. Okay, so there's an end at some point in this. So we're going to just go with this. And we're going to look for the end, and you've probably seen it by now, and they're saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe you can't see the end of the yarn. What is wrong with you? It's a giant spaghetti match. There we go. It's a giant spaghetti match. So we have yarn spaghetti, basically. Let's call it yarn spaghetti. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these two colors and I'm going to put them together. Because it's a little bit more interesting. You can see how those colors are pretty close. But by themselves, they're kind of boring. It would make a lovely, beautiful blanket, but it would take forever to get finished. So we're going to do something creative because it's your yarn. It's your project. You can do whatever you want. So again, I have a size M hook. I'm going to chain. So I've made that slip knot and I'm pulling, yarning over, and just pulling through. Yarning over and pulling through. Yarning over, pulling through. Yarning over, pulling through. Yarning over, pulling through. Yarning over, pulling through. And see, I can adjust those loops. This could be a big, huge loop, but we want it to be a reasonable loop. You want the loop to sort of correspond to the size hook you have. You want it loose enough that you can put the hook in pretty easily. You don't want it tight. We're not doing anything crazy here. So I've chained a few. And you can kind of look at that and see these are very intense colors. Now I could have picked like a yellow to go with this, whatever, but I like that the colors are pretty close. That'll be good. So I am going to go in 4 chains from the hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This is also much easier for you to see. So this is my stitch, these 3 little things. I'm going to go in under those 2, except I forgot. We're making double crochets, aren't we? So I'm going to hold this little bottom edge with my fingers just so I can see it. And I'm going to yarn over, and then I'm going to go in here, right there. Pull up a loop. So now I have 3 loops on the hook. What do we do now, kids? Yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Yarn over again, pull through 2 loops. Okay, so this is my double crochet. So I want to make another double crochet. So I'm going to yarn over again, and I'm already in this stitch. This right here is my next stitch. So I'm going under those 2 top threads. So I've got one little thread underneath. You can kind of see that. I'm going to yarn over, pull that through. So now I've got 3 loops on the hook. I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to pull through 2 loops. Almost done. I'm going to pull, yarn over, pull through those last 2 loops. And I've got another double crochet. So I've got one here, one here. Let's do this again. Got 1 loop on the hook. Got extraneous strands in the background. Yarn over. I'm looking for this next stitch. It looks a little wonky, but you can straighten things out. So you got this here and this string. So you want to go under those 2 top loops. You want this little loop on the bottom. And I'm going to go right in there. Then I'm going to yarn over and pull that yarn over through. Oh, I've only got one of my strands there. Oops, what do? I let go. So let's try this again. Going in, kind of holding this little bottom one down. I've yarned over. I'm going in under those 2 stitches, those 2 strands. Yarn over, pull through, yarn up. Okay, so now I have 3 loops on the hook, 3 loops, yarn over, and I'm going to pull through 2 of those loops. I'm going to yarn over again. I'm going to pull through 2 of the last loops. I have another double crochet. Yarn over, pull through. Oop, I screwed up there. Yarn over, and then I'm going to go underneath there, pull up. I've got 3 loops on the hook. I've yarned over. I'm going to pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So you're getting the idea. We're getting double crochets. This is kind of breezy. It's got some color to it. You can sort of see the colors. You can see the pops of color. It's not super... This is going to be a throw, basically. And now, because we've doubled the number of stitches. Okay, yarn over. I'm going to go under those 2. I'm going to pull up that loop. I've got 3 stitches on the hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So I'm going to keep going with this for a little bit. If my demonstrations are not clear, which I'm going to guess that they're not super clear, you can always check out, there's tons of video on YouTube with people demonstrating various stitches. Again, this is called a double crochet because it's twice as high as a single crochet. But you're getting the idea. This is more about playing with color and playing with hook size and trying to make something faster than you normally would. A lot of people use bulkier yarns. One of the bulkier yarns is like a Lion brand softball. This is another yarn I bought on sale. It takes 2 of these to make a hat. I think I have 2 different colors of this, but this yarn is what they call a boucle. It's kind of bumpy boucle. And this is, I believe, it's 100% polyester. It is very soft. It's cute. It would make a cute hat, but I don't want to use that for a blanket. I mean, you could use it for a blanket. It's pretty loosely spun. And when something is loosely spun, it tends to fray a whole lot. It tends to like get little pills and it looks like, your garage sale Afghan that's been on the couch for a million years. And it's kind of fuzzy. And I don't want fuzzy for what I want to do. So I'm going to continue to do this. I know this is excruciating for those of you who crochet. Absolutely excruciating. We're almost to the end of this little sample. I think I have 2 stitches left. I've pulled through. Yarned over, pulled through, yarn over, pulled through. I have 1 stitch left on this. The last stitch looks a little wonky because of the slip knot there. But again, I'm yarning over. I am kind of holding the bottom of that little thread, and these two strands are on top. And I'm going to yarn over. Sometimes you just have to hand manipulate these things when you're first starting. You crochet however you want. If it gets you the result you want, go for it. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. So now I've got a little piece of interesting here. Let's do a close-up of that so you can kind of see that. It's a little bit more interesting than just one color. It's got a couple of colors in it. It's got weird little color pops. It's a little bit more interesting. So, what are we going to do now? Well, we're going to do something crazy. I am going to show you what color can look like when you play with it. So, since I have 12 skeins of yarn, I'm going to show you what the next 2 strands would look like. And it's going to kind of give you an idea. Sorry about knocking the camera. Kind of give you an idea of what this might look like. So, I need to find my end here. I had my end. There's my end. I'm doing this off camera so you're not seeing the yarn barf. So the next colors I'm using are mango and lemon. So mango's the bottom one, lemon's the top one. I've got 2 ends here. You can see those are definitely all bright, super bright colors. So what I'm going to do is I have this last loop. It's the end of my row. What you do with crochet typically, and I'm going to pan out here. Pan out. Pan out. There we go. We have lots of ends, lots of things going on. So you have 1 loop left here. You have to typically, what they do called Chain and Turn Your Work. I'm going to chain and turn my work with the new yarn. So we'll go in just a little bit. So for now, I'm just dropping this color. Just drop it. We're going to pretend it doesn't exist. And what I'm going to do is, my hook is here. I'm laying my ends over the top. And I'm going to pull a loop through. Now everything's going to be loose. Everything's going to be super loose. I am going to hang on to all my 4 strands over here. So I've got my old stuff here, my new stuff here, and then of course the end that we started with, just hanging it down. So I've pulled through on that last thing. So I'm going to chain 3. 1, well actually that's 1 here, 2, oh, and I dropped 1, so let's pretend. Okay, so this is 1, 2, 3. So you can see clearly 1, 2, or not so clearly, 3. You have 3 loops. You never count the loop on the hook as part of your chain. So now what am I going to do? I'm physically turning my work. So I am on the back side of that yarn. I'm on the back side of all of this. And I've got this chain. Now, what do? This just looks weird, doesn't it? This looks easier actually than your bottom, than your foundation row, your bottom. Okay, so you're going to look at this at the top of it, at the tippy top, and you're going to see this. It looks like your typical chain. These little loops form an edge. So you're looking at the very top. So what we're going to do is do double crochets into those stitches. So I've got my hook here. I've got many, many ends that need to go up here. And we're going to basically yarn over. And I've got the top of this, the top of my piece that I'm working on. I'm going under this, under that. You can kind of see it more. And then I'm going to yarn over and pull that loop through. So now I've got 3 loops on the hook again, 3 loops. I'm going to yarn over again, pull through 2 loops, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. So I've got my turning chain and I've made a double crochet stitch. So I'm going to continue this process. I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to look for the loopy part on top with those two strands, and I'm going to pull, yarn over, pull through a stitch, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops on the hook. Now I have 2 loops